guys, what's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars. For today we're doing another ranking video. That's right, we're looking at every film adaptation from Nicholas Sparks and deciding which one is the best of the best. But before I do that, let me know how you'd rank all these movies in the comments section down below. I'm really interested to see how our opinions differ on the subject. Which one's your favorite? And let's get cracking. In 11th place, also known as last place, at 37% is The Longest Ride. This is the movie that I lovingly refer to as the cowboy version of The Notebook, as it's the most unoriginal and uninspired Nicholas Sparks adaptation, in my opinion. It contains the most Nicholas Sparks tropes, while simultaneously doing the same thing The Notebook did, just in a lot more of a boring fashion. The film is also the longest Nicholas Sparks film to date, at just 2 hours and 19 minutes. The flashbacks it has is boring and disjointed, not feeling like they have any point whatsoever. The only positive thing that you can really say about it is that atmospherically it feels like a movie. In 10th place at 40% is The Last Song. This, of course, is the Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth film. You can find it on Disney Plus right now if you're so inclined, but it's kind of boring. It's the only film in the entire list where I had to pause the movie and shout out at the top of my lungs how much the lead actress cannot act, which is the weirdest thing because it's the only movie on this list where the two leads actually dated outside of the film itself, and I didn't even feel the chemistry in it. It's just bad all around. In 9th place at 46% is The Best of Me. More like the worst of me, am I right? No, the biggest thing about this film that hurt it was the casting. You have James Marsden, who for the most part is a pretty recognizable actor, particularly for what he looks like. The bone structure in his face alone, you can't miss him. Then you have an actor playing a younger version of him that looks nothing like him. Wrong jawline, wrong eyes, wrong nose, wrong mouth, wrong cheekbones, wrong personality, wrong voice, wrong everything. If the gimmick of the film is flashbacks, you need to believe that these two people are one and the same, and I don't think anybody would be able to believe that. In 8th place at 55% is Nights in Rodanthe. This is the one featuring Richard Gere and Diane Lane as a couple of people that find themselves in a bed and breakfast together during hurricane season. It's okay. I, however, do not like Richard Gere in these types of roles. I prefer him in more tense, thriller-like movies. I like Diane Lane, but I didn't fully believe her in this role either. The production design of the movie, however, that was pretty good, because the location served as a character in the film, but that's mostly all I can say about it. In 7th place, also at 55%, is Dear John. Dear John got a nearly identical score to Nights in Rodanthe. Same bias score, same unbiased score, same total score overall. The only place where I scored it a little bit higher than Nights in Rodanthe was the people score. Like I said, I didn't like Richard Gere, but Channing Tatum and Amanda Seyfried, now they were people that I think worked out a little bit better. And past that, I loved Richard Jenkins' role. He's actually one of my favorite characters in any of these movies. Also, this is the last Nicholas Sparks film that I graded an F letter grade to. Everything else is higher. Let's go with the D's. In 6th place at 64% is The Choice. This was Nicholas Sparks' final film adaptation, and one that mostly surprised me because I had a good time with it. It's probably the funniest movie on this list in a good way. The casting was some of the best casting any of the movies have ever had because the actors actually fit the roles rather well versus what they normally do, which is pick actors with notoriety and sex appeal. These were kind of, weird people, but weird in such a refreshingly good and realistic and grounded way. That being said, it was still cliche and predictable, and you see everything coming from a mile away, which is never truly what you want in any movie. In 5th place at 68% is Safe Haven. There was actually a time where I would have originally placed this as my second favorite film on Nicholas Sparks' filmography, because it was the only movie to really strive to do something different. The movie, in part, was a thriller. Again, the actors sometimes overdo it, but the thriller part of the film works pretty well. But what doesn't work as well, and the reason why it's a little bit lower on this list, is because of the sappy romance part of the movie, which does not blend very well with thriller. Now, romance can work with thriller perfectly if thriller is the primary genre, so, the romance that follows is just as dark and tense. Not so here. It flip-flops from tense thriller to sappy romance, and that's what hurt it the most. In 4th place at 71% is The Lucky One. This, of course, is the one with Zac Efron and Taylor Schilling. The movie kind of surprised me as well because, again, it's nothing super original or unpredictable, but it is soft, warm, and showcases Zac Efron in one of his most subdued performances ever. He's usually kind of all over the place, but he's as gentle as still water in this movie, and every now and then he has a little bit of PTSD, which, honestly, I totally believed when I saw it. Past that, I believed his chemistry with Taylor Schilling, which was also another surprise. She's a bit older than he is, but it works. Nothing amazing or knock your socks off great, but it is a feel-good romance that I think works. In third place at 80% is The Notebook. This movie I feel like is everybody's favorite film, and I would argue that it's probably the most cinematic and well-made film on the list overall. But I've always said that it's the exact definition of a chick flick, which isn't always the greatest thing. I really like the stuff with the older couple, much more so than the stuff with Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, because the older couple felt grounded and real, and the stuff with Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams felt a little bit more fantasy level. It's not bad, not at all. I'll watch it again in the future, but it's not my favorite film of his. In second place at 85% is Message in a Bottle. Now, this is Nicholas Sparks' first film adaptation, and I had never seen it before I did this marathon. And it's another one that surprised me. I liked it. I liked the mature relationship between Kevin Costner and Robin Wright. I liked the premise about the messages that she found in a bottle and how she tracked him down. I liked the restraint that Kevin Costner had because of the grief that he held, which stopped him from learning how to love again. Because this was the first film, it also feels most original, even though it still had the Nicholas Sparks tropes. It's how they were approached in this movie that I really liked. In first place, just 1% higher at 86%, is A Walk to Remember. That's right, the movie that I think is Nicholas Sparks' strongest is A Walk to Remember, and a big part of that, I think, is nostalgia. I think Message in a Bottle was technically made better, but I would rather watch this. It's got a ton of themes and messages that, while clear, are never in your face, especially when dealing with religious stuff. It has some really good character development, good music, and one of the best examples of what somebody is willing to do for love, which is something that Nicholas Sparks likes to focus on a lot. It once again has all those Nicholas Sparks tropes, but this is one of the only films on this list that I like the uses of the tropes and connected the most with the characters on screen. And that's it. When we average everything together, our franchise score, even though it's not a real franchise, is 62%. So it's mostly just hanging on by a thread, but it would pass in school, something that actually surprised me because nearly half of them got an F letter grade. Oh well, let me know your thoughts on the movies and how you'd rank them all in the comment section down below. As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, because there's always more like it coming out each and every single day. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, guys, peace out!
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us.